Claire sat, crossing her legs neatly. Rough day? Liam hesitated but eventually nodded. Yeah, you could say that. She glanced at him, her eyes curious but kind. You come here often? Every night. Liam admitted. It's quiet. Helps me think. Me too, Claire said softly, staring at the river. Sometimes, quiet is all you need. They didn't say much more that night, but something about the moment lingered. Over the weeks, they began meeting at the bench, unplanned but consistent. Liam learned that Claire was in his literature class, always sitting at the front. She learned he was working 2 jobs to pay for his tuition and sending money back home to his mom and little sister. One evening, Liam asked, "Why do you come here? You don't seem like someone who needs quiet." Claire hesitated, her fingers tracing the rim of her coffee cup. "I don't know. Maybe I'm tired of the noise." "The noise?" Liam asked. She sighed. "The expectations. My parents think I have it all figured out, but honestly, I feel like I'm drowning." Liam looked at her, surprised. She always seems so put together, so confident. "It's funny," he said. "You're the first person I've met here who doesn't assume I'm just some guy who doesn't belong." Claire frowned. "You're not just anything, Liam. You work harder than anyone I've ever met. If anything, I envy you."
One night, Claire didn't show up. Liam waited, his breath visible in the cold air. He had grown used to their conversations, to the way she listened without judgment. The next day, he saw her in class, her eyes red and tired. Afterward, he caught up with her. "Claire, what's wrong?" She shook her head. "Nothing. I'm fine." "Come on," he pressed. "You don't look fine." Claire's composure cracked. "My dad, he found out I want to switch majors. He said I'm wasting his money, that I'll never make it as a writer." Her voice wavered. "He doesn't understand. He never does." Liam frowned. "Claire, your dreams matter. Don't let anyone, not even your dad, tell you otherwise." "And what about you?" She shot back. "How do you keep going when everything feels impossible?" Liam thought for a moment. "Because I don't have a choice. My family's counting on me. But you do have a choice, Claire. You can fight for what you want." Their bond grew stronger after that. Liam started sharing his struggles more openly, his fear of failing, his doubts about whether he could keep up with the demands of school and work. Claire, in turn, began taking small steps toward her dream, submitting her writing to competitions and journals, despite her father's disapproval. One evening, they sat on the bench, watching the sun dip below the horizon. "You know," Claire said, breaking the silence, "you're the bravest person I know." Liam laughed. "Me? I'm just trying to survive." "No," she insisted. "You're doing more than that. You're chasing something bigger, even when it feels impossible. That's bravery." He looked at her, the sincerity in her words sinking in. "You're not so bad yourself, Claire, standing up to your dad like that. That's not easy." She smiled. "Guess we're both a little braver than we thought." By their final semester, life had started to shift. Claire's relationship with her dad was still strained, but she had published her first short story and received a scholarship to study creative writing after graduation. Liam, meanwhile, had landed an internship that promised a steady job after college, a dream he never thought possible. On their last evening together by the river, they sat in silence for a while, the weight of goodbye hanging in the air. "I don't think I'd have made it without you," Claire said, her voice thick with emotion. Liam swallowed hard. "You would've. You're stronger than you know." They sat for a moment longer before Claire stood, slipping something into his hand. It was a small notebook, filled with her neat handwriting. "Whenever you feel like giving up, read this," she said. "It's everything I've learned from you." Liam opened his mouth to respond, but the lump in his throat made it impossible. Instead, he nodded, clutching the notebook tightly. As she walked away, he whispered, "Thank you, Claire, for everything."